So today's going to be a bit of a fun video for me. I'm going to be building out my Lumix S5 IIX into this giant cinema rig. So this is pretty much my commercial sort of setup with 2x anamorphic lens. And I've got the rigid pro cage on here, which is pretty interesting, but I've also got the FX3, FX30 version, which we'll talk about as well. Now this cinema rig setup probably isn't for absolutely everyone, and I definitely don't recommend build your camera out all the time because it really comes down to the very specific job. If I am doing some sort of commercial stuff and I really need some of these things, then absolutely I'm gonna need a lot of these things on here. And the weight can actually help, you know, stabilize the camera, get rid of micro jitters, and that can be really good for the footage. But if you're using this all day, this can get extremely heavy, and I absolutely don't recommend it if you don't do a lot of weightlifting, because you're going to be feeling it on your traps, you're going to be feeling it on your biceps, and definitely your back. Now I will do a full breakdown, and I will put links in the description below so you guys can see exactly what I'm using and obviously the prices of it and where you can get it from. Now the rigid pro cage seems to be 3D printed. It does have a switch on the side. It's got this little LED sort of panel that shows you the voltage. It's got 4 D-tap ports. The top and bottom are metal, and the FX3 version comes with the top handle adapter as well that you can actually purchase, which is pretty nice. And on the side you do have that nice cutout for your monitor sort of slide into. Now the cage I'm using for my Lumix S5 IIX rig is a small reach cage, and it pretty much slips directly into the rigid pro cinema cage. Now it's got 4 D-tap ports on the side, and I'm going to be honest, I don't use the 4 D-taps. I only generally use about 2, and majority of the time it's only just for the monitor itself. Now majority of these newer batteries will have D-tap ports or USB-C ports on the battery itself. But the thing is, if you do actually change the batteries out, all you need to do is take it off and put a brand new battery directly on, and you don't have to take any cords out. So that just makes it a little bit easier and quicker changing these smaller 99 watt hour batteries. Now I'm running a Samsung T7 SSD directly into the Lumix S5 IIX, mainly for the fact that I can actually just take it out and put it straight into my computer, and it obviously reads directly off that. But it is faster recording. You can get a couple of different frame rates or recording modes directly into that SSD. Now I do have an SSD caddy on the side, and it does have a USB-C sort of clamp on the top, so it actually avoids pulling that USB-C out from that SSD while you're recording. But if you don't want to use that, obviously you can record directly into the standard SD cards. Or you can actually buy one of these D-tap to USB-C charging ports where you can actually just use your normal battery and plug it directly into the USB-C on the side and trickle charge your battery as well. Now I do have the DJI Focus Pro on the side, mainly for the fact that if I am utilizing anamorphics, it is so much more accurate because a lot of these anamorphic lenses aren't as sharp as Steele's lenses. They're relatively soft, wide open, but if you do tune it perfectly, you're going to get some really nice tack sharp focus. And as you guys know, when you have anamorphics wide open, you're going to see a little bit more anamorphic characteristics. And if you do end up stopping down anamorphics, you don't see as much of those anamorphic characteristics because you'll see more of the background. The depth of field is obviously a lot deeper. Now when it comes to the rail system, I've actually got this little tilter 15mm rod holder, so it screws directly into the side of the rigid pro cage, and I've got this 15mm rod that's, I don't know, roughly about that big, that goes to the front, and it holds my DJI LiDAR system, but it also holds the focus motor as well. And the thing that actually holds the LiDAR system actually is a cold shoe mount that's from Nicey Rig. Essentially, it attaches directly into that 15mm rod and comes out to the side. And that allows my DJI LiDAR system to be kind of in the center where my lens is. And for me, when it comes to filming majority of the stuff, I have my right hand on the top handle and my left hand will actually be on the side handle where the Focus Pro is. So that's why I have the Focus Pro on the left-hand side. But if I don't use the top handle, I can use the Focus Pro on the left-hand side and then just use the standard grip that's on the Lumix S5 IIX. And it's quite comfortable because I can actually put it up against my chest. That gives me the third point of contact, which keeps it nice and steady. Now I do have the DJI transmitter attached to my FieldWorld F5 Pro X monitor. And this actually has pass-through power on the back, so all I need to do is click it directly in, and then I can just attach my HDMI directly into that transmitter. Then obviously the transmitter will transmit to my production monitor. Now I have made a full video of the FieldWorld monitor as well as the production monitor, which you guys can check out. Now there's one caveat with these kind of cinema rigs, because you actually need specific cages that actually fits inside the rigid pro rig itself. Now I will put a link below so you guys can check out the specific camera you've got and the cage that they actually recommend. Now, I don't specifically have a tripod mount directly on the bottom, mainly for the fact that I do a lot of handheld shoots. But if I do have a tripod mount, I generally just use Arca Swiss because I've got Arca Swiss almost everything, and just attach a plate at the bottom and chuck it directly onto the tripod. Now, I do have to stress again that not all jobs require these large rigs. Don't buy it because you just want to look cool. You want to be buying this because you want different power options. You want to have different rigging options for top handles and side handles and all those kind of things. If you do just want to run and gun with your small camera and a cage, perfectly fine, do that. Do whatever suits the job. Don't just build up these rigs for absolutely no purpose. And one of the biggest pros with these smaller mirrorless cameras is that you can rig them out as much as possible because they have phenomenal sensors and brilliant image quality. They almost rival cinema cameras, and with larger cinema cameras, you can only make them so small, and that is the pro, that you can actually run and gun with something this small, or you can build it out to whatever you want that suits the job. Now, the one interesting thing about the FX30 rig is that you can actually utilize the standard FX30 top handle. You can take off half of the front of the top plate, and then you can actually put the adapter directly onto the back, which attaches into the FX30/FX3 handle. And if I am using a small rig like this, all I'm going to be doing is attaching a monitor directly on top, so I can obviously monitor it. That needs power, so obviously it's going to be great to have the D-tap on the back, but also I can D-tap directly to USB-C, so I can power the camera directly through there. But if I don't want to use the USB-C power on the side and the standard battery, I can take that out. I can actually use the D-tap to dummy battery directly into the camera. Now, this FX30/FX3 rig can be very simple, but it can actually be really effective, and especially the ergonomics of it and how it actually feels when it comes to filming. For me, I am a top handle kind of person. I need the top handle, and I generally film from my waist depending on what kind of shot angle and size I'm going for. So look, one of the biggest pros about these rigid pro rigs is essentially that it just gives you a whole bunch of mounting points at the top, the bottom, the sides, and it just keeps everything compact and sort of in place, and you can tidy up your rig, and it's not just a massive Frankenstein build, but you can actually make these as small as possible, or you can just, run and gun with just the cage itself. Like I said, it really just depends on the job and what you actually need, but this is just another tool in your arsenal. So anyway, my friends, I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, please give it a thumbs up. Let me know your thoughts on cinema rigs, and yeah, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next one. All right, let's get it.